Welcome everyone. We're recording the Mishna Yomis early because we have the Chumash here tonight, and we are starting tonight the last parak of Masechtas Gittin, first finishing the 8th parak with the last Mishnah in the 8th parak and the first Mishnah in the 9th parak, sponsored Le'ilei Nishmas Rav Moshe ben Rav David L'Fush Shalem Rafel Yom Moshe ben Chai Sarah for Schus of Avram ben Yom ben Malki Yehudis and family, by the Fisher family Le'ilei Nishmas Basi Bas Robert Shlomo ben Avram Alevi Perel Bas Ruvain, by your Klugman and family for their Gezund Parnas and Nachas L'Fush Shalem for Meir ben Chai Sarah, and for Avigdoraya ben Rivka. So the Mishnah is talking about the get kerach. Remember, the get kerach was the special get designed for a kohen, which takes longer, and therefore hoping that they should not give it, so that, because once he gives the get, he can't take her back, because the kohen is not allowed to take a divorcee. Now, a feature of the get kerach is there has to be a signature on every fold that's sewn. And if there's one fold that doesn't have a signature, then that's a get kerach, a bald get, and it's puzzle. Now the Mishnah tells us that if you have two kosher edim, then the rest of the folds could be signed even by witnesses that are not normally kosher. So that, for example, a thief or a slave would be able to sign it according to the Tanakama. So get kerach, Hakol mashlim and olav, everybody, after having two good witnesses signed on two folds, everybody could sign on the other folds. Dibri ben Nanas, that's the opinion of Ben Nanas. Reb Kiva says the only person that could sign is somebody, even though he's not good for this get because he's a relative, but he's good for other things. Because if it's a slave or a thief, somebody might say, you see, he signed on the get, he's kosher for edus for other things. So Rabbi Kiva mashlim and olav ela kroivim, only relatives that are allowed to testify elsewhere. But if not, we're afraid that if you let a thief sign, somebody says, you see, he was used as an aid, he can be used as an aid elsewhere. So that's not allowed. Ve'zel get kereach, what's a bald get? That's no good. Kol sheksharav merubim me'edav, if there's more folds than signatures, so there are folds that are not signed, that's a get, that's puzzle. Now, the first Mishnah in the 9th parak tells us, Hamagari says, if somebody divorces his wife. Now, one of the features of a get is it has to be a sefer krisis. It has to be a total severance. So if he says, I give you the get on the condition that you can never drink wine, so that's going to be a string attached, so then that's not a total severance. However, he divorces his wife and says to her, you're permitted to every person, you can't marry Henry. So the Rebbe Eliezer says, since the pasuk says, the isha grusha me isha lo yikachum, that a kohen cannot marry a woman that's divorced only from her husband. So we see that even if he gives her a divorce and says, you are divorced from me, but you're not allowed to marry anybody else, she's still pasul l'kuna. So that means it's a get. So Rabbi Eliezer matter. But the Chacham say no, because that's a string attached. He said, here's a get, but you can't marry Henry. That's no good. Ketzad Yasa, if he wants to rectify the get, what should he do? Yitlen Heimen, he should take it back from her, and give it back a second time. In other words, the fact that he said, except for Henry, doesn't disqualify the get per se. However, if he wrote Hariyat Materis L'Kol Adam Chutz Mehenry in the text of the get, then that get was written wrong. That get was not written l'shem krisis. Then Afal Pisha Chazer Mechakai, even though he erases except from Henry, since the get initially was written not l'shem krisis, the get itself is puzzle and it cannot be used again. we want to thank you, and we have tonight at 5 to 9 the daf, very interesting daf. I got it to Gemara, and then the Chumash share. And remember, if you're trying to get on, there's now a passcode